Okay, so hi, good morning. I'm from the Malta Crafts Foundation. I'm the CEO of the Malta Crafts Foundation. It's a new foundation which has been formed like in 2021. So it's quite a young entity, but it replaced what was before the Crafts Council in Malta. We take care of various sections for the crafts sector. We take care of education, so I'll explain a bit more, the innovation aspect, and also the promotion of artisans. Just to give you an overview, our mission is to generate national and international awareness towards artisanship in Malta through educational and promotional efforts. One thing that we see, for example, in Malta, but I think it's across all of Europe, is that there's a lack of awareness of appreciation of artisan products, of the handmade product. So that is one of our main targets. To stimulate innovation, a lot of Maltese artisans, unfortunately, are still lacking in the innovation aspect of what they produce. So by nurturing an ecosystem which allows artisans to embrace current challenges and transform them into opportunities. The final aim is to ensure the sustainability of the artisan sector, particularly traditional crafts. Malta is a very small island, for those who don't know, underneath Italy. We have a very rich culture. We were under the Knights of St. John, so we have influences from Spain, France, Italy. We were a British colony for a number of years. So we are influenced by a lot of different cultures. But then we have taken those and developed our own craft sector. So just to go quick over the slide, our work is guided by three main pillars: promotion, education, and innovation. So, okay. So before going into the General Assembly of the World Crafts Council this year, I wanted to mention a few things. First of all, we're finding various challenges in Malta. First of all, we lack the research. So we don't have any research related to the craft sector in Malta. So when we took over in 2021, we said, okay, let's see whether there are numbers of artisans working in Malta, how many of these are part-timers, full-timers, what are they mainly male, female, what information do we have? And we didn't find any research whatsoever. We went to check with university whether students are doing research in the craft sector. There was none. So we really had to start from scratch. There was no strategy, national strategy for the craft sector. So imagine how can we go to government and tell him, listen, we want more funds for the craft sector. We need to help artisans in certain aspects of training, etc., without having the backing of any research and numbers whatsoever. So we had to start from scratch. So we had to do research, we had to start drafting a strategy. I'll discuss a bit of that later on. And then we started doing the actual work. So continuing working on promotion, trying to make people appreciate more the sector, and obviously help artisans to innovate, because otherwise they would lose their job finally. Okay, so a few words about the can we go? So a few words up. Okay, no, down. Okay, so something about the most exciting thing that is happening this year is the General Assembly of the World Crafts Council Europe. So it's happening in Malta. The General Assembly will be over 2 days, and we're really looking forward to it because it's an opportunity for Maltese artisans to meet artisans from all over Europe, or people who are managing associations or foundations related, or councils related to crafts. Why? Because in Malta, artisans usually work in silos. For example, we have a very good ceramic sector, we have a glass sector. Artisans usually like to work on their own. It's already a headache to make artisans teach their craft to others. It's a bigger headache to make artisans collaborate together. So this is a very good opportunity for them to see what's happening in other countries and see opportunities for collaboration. We have started work with artisans to collaborate together. We have introduced funds by the foundation where they come up with a project when they work with a designer to create something innovative, or even collaborate with other artisans to create something new. And that is encouraging them to come out of their comfort zone and innovate in their products. So we encourage you to do the pre-registration because we need to know the numbers. But obviously, Malta in July will be waiting for you with magnificent weather. So that's on day 4, we have the annual conference of the World Crafts Council Europe. I think it's going to be very well attended. Last year, we did our own national conference, and we had around 100 and something artisans coming over to listen to what we had to say. We focused a lot on adaptability. We told them, listen, if you're going to stick to what you've been doing for the past 20 years, and you're going to keep on doing that, there's no reason why you blame people that they're not buying your stuff. It's useless blaming government that it's not helping you. You need to adapt to current times. You need to adapt to new designs using new tools, and hopefully we have managed to instill some of this in their minds. So I think it's going to be very well attended. And then in the evening, we're going to have our annual awards for crafts. It is called Premio Ġieħ l-Artiġanat Malti. It's the annual awards night for the best craft products. It's going to be held outdoors, and you're going to be all invited to that. There will be a reception after with drinks and food, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Obviously, as the Irish mentioned before, we will invite the minister for this event, because last year we had the annual conference, we had the awards, and we invited a lot of ministers. No one turned up, but this year we made sure that we informed them from January so that no one has the excuse to not coming. Obviously, I think what happened in Malta, crafts was associated with free lessons that children had at school and secondary school. During free lessons, teachers used to go to class and they used to tell children, let's do some crafts. They used to give them a piece of paper, you tell them, create something. So crafts became associated with something which is of lesser value than other things which you buy outside. So along the years, crafts became, it became a taboo word. Whenever you mention crafts wasn't something which could be considered of a certain value. And we're trying to break that. How? By trying not to use the word crafts. Unfortunately, we're trying to use artisanship and trying to showcase work of craftsmen in a new light. Like we're trying to participate in Malta Fashion Week this year. We're trying to create campaigns online to showcase what our artisans are capable of doing. So COVID helped as well, because COVID, I think all over Europe, it created a new wave of people trying to buy local handmade products. And that is something which we're trying to use to our advantage to increase this appreciation. Another problem which we are facing, and I think other European countries are facing as well, apart from lack of research, lack of education. In Malta, we had trade schools up to some years ago. So children secondary school students who didn't do well in school, they had the option to go to these trade schools. And in trade schools, they used to learn carpentry, whatever trade they wanted to learn skills in. These trade schools had a lot of machinery in them, but then obviously a big discussion arose that these children are being labeled as not intelligent students. They're being put in trade schools to get rid of them from formal schooling, and these trade schools were closed. Once they were closed, students were all put together in primary and secondary schools, and they were not being given the opportunity to express themselves through hand skills. So what we are faced today is, last month, one of the biggest companies in Malta who are engaged, who do glass blowing, she phoned me up and told me, I don't have anyone who wants to work. The person who had the most skills in glass blowing left for a government job, for an office job, because they don't want to do the work anymore. They're not finding people interested in the craft. When they try to get students coming out from MCAD, which is it's a college which trains students in some creative arts, they don't even know how to use a hammer with their hand. They don't have the basic skills, and we're faced with a big problem because we don't know what to do. So obviously, as a foundation, we're trying to start discussions again with the education departments in Malta, with universities, with colleges, to increase courses in the craft sector, to open up new courses, part-time courses for the general public, for those who have left school or have a job which they want to change, to train themselves in certain crafts, and to start a discussion which obviously it's not easy for students from a primary age to start having these skills from a young age. So to have certain skills that unfortunately nowadays are difficult to get, because they start from a young age with iPads. And another thing which we're doing with regards to promotion during the European Artistic Crafts Days, again, to increase awareness with the Maltese people about the artisans that there are in Malta, we're going to do an interactive map of Malta and Gozo, the two main islands, the Maltese archipelago, with different localities showing artisans working in those localities. And when you click, for example, in Valletta to see which artisans are there, then you have information on the location of their workshop, the duration of times during which they're going to accept people to go to their workshop, so that people can go during these days and these weeks to visit the artisans working. So that is one of the ways in which we're trying to promote artisan work more with the public. Obviously, we're doing training sessions for artisans. Last year, we did, obviously, we're telling them you need to adapt. You need to develop your skills. You need to develop new tools, new ideas. But it's not easy to break down the mind of someone who has been doing the same things for a long time. So we're doing sessions for them to help them with, last year we did a session on digital marketing, 4 sessions on digital marketing. So we started training them on how to use Facebook, TikTok, and social media so that they learn how to promote their products better. We did a training for them on how to present their products to the public. We did a session on storytelling, because when you present an object to someone, you need to know how to talk about it to the general public, to the people who came to visit your items in your workshop, because as we know, people nowadays want to buy things which tell a story. They're not buying things at face value anymore. They need to know what went behind that object before they buy it, because they want objects which have value. And this year we started training artisans as well on sustainability. We did a session on sustainability a few weeks ago to start inculcating as well this culture of circular economy and zero waste. So as well, we do training for students and young people. In Malta, we have 2 crafts villages, 2 main crafts villages. They're like small villages in which there are only craftspeople with their workshops there. We have one in Malta and one in Gozo, and sometimes we do events there to promote the artisans and also do workshops for students, young children, and even the general public who want to come and have a hand at ceramics, glass blowing, etc. This is something which I'm very proud of. So I started the Malta Crafts Foundation in 2021, and as I said, there was no strategy for the craft sector, and we started this exercise straight away, and now finally we have a draft, which is at the ministry, and it's for their endorsement so that we take it out for public consultation. It was a very important exercise. We did questionnaires with all registered artisans, so we sent the questionnaires to over 1,000 artisans registered, and we had quite a good feedback. We received back from around 200 of them. So we identify the challenges they are facing, and in their opinion, what needs to be done to take the sector forward in the coming years. So we came up with this document. It lists 8 priority areas on which the foundation and the government need to work for in the coming years, so that we make sure that the sector remains sustainable for long. These priority areas vary from government aid and support to further education in the sector. So it's quite encompassing what needs to be done, I think, not only in Malta, but I think there are a lot of commonalities what needs to be done all over Europe to have a sustainable sector. And we came up as well with the red list of endangered crafts, something which I think was missing in Malta as well. We have quite a large number of crafts. Some of them are extinct, unfortunately. So we have grouped the crafts according to either to whether they are extinct or else at which level of endangerment they are right now. Obviously, this will help us governments, to help support those crafts which are at risk more than others. Unfortunately, even glass blowing in Malta has become endangered because we lack people who are being trained and who want to work in that sector. There are others which are obvious why they are endangered, because it's no longer the time and place for them to remain so. But it's helping us as well, because we're trying to help artisans to innovate in their products so that they move from one end to the other to become more viable. For example, in Malta, we have the traditional lace. It's similar to the French lace, but it's the Maltese way how to do it. And usually, I don't know if you remember, artisans used to make doilies. I think the British know what they are. They used to put these doilies on their lampshades, and and they still do these. So, but they don't sell to anyone, I think, anymore. So we're telling them, okay, you're not selling. It's not the fault of people who are not buying because they don't have money. It's not the fault of government who is not supporting you enough. You need to think outside of the box. And we gave funds last year. We took some people who used to work with lace. We partnered them with someone who does handbags, and they're incorporating now lace into handbags. And they're coming up with a new range of handbags which can be sold, obviously, to young people, etc. So this list is helping us to identify in which work we need to do to have more work being done to sustain the sector. So these are two important documents which I think everyone should have. We also do artisan markets. Again, another hurdle that we had to face was that when national events happen in Malta, sometimes we try to reach to the organizers to tell them, listen, can you incorporate a section for handmade items and to showcase and allow people to sell even their products? And when I talked, for example, we have Notte Bianca, which is a very big event in Malta. When I talked to the organizer, he told me, I had some bad experiences with artisans in previous years. I don't know if it's your place. I don't want stuff which is not up to standard. I told him, listen, have faith. And the sector has improved. I will showcase the best of what we have. And we filled, I think we had around 30 stalls with high-end handmade products, ranging from leather products to jewelry. And after the event, he called me and he told me, thank you, it was well received. Even the Minister of Culture went and was overwhelmed with. So I'm telling you this because I wanted to show you how the mind frame of certain people of what artisan products are, unfortunately, along the years was affected badly. But obviously we need to try to showcase people what range of artisan items are. Obviously there are products which are not up to standard, but there are others which are not. Something else which was very successful, we introduced these sessions, Meet the Artisans. So every month, every last Sunday of every month, we are promoting a different artisan and who is willing to open his workshop and invite people to go and visit. This was one of the artisans held, I think, in December. Had over 30 or 35 people visiting in one session, and sometimes artisans even allow the people visiting to try their hand at the crafts. So these have been very successful at promoting the sector and what they do. This artisan in particular produces candles. The cover of these, the outer cover of these handles have traditional Maltese motifs on them. They're made with reconstituted stone. So it's stone which is then mixed with a special type of bonding agent, and it creates these solid covers for the candles. And the candles are also, they can be changed. So when the candle finishes, you can go there and refill it up. So he's working as well with circular economy. Okay, I think that's it for me. I spent a lot.